Good morning, everyone. Welcome to English Flow, the podcast where we discuss interesting topics while helping you improve your English skills. I'm Tom, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today.
And I'm Sarah. Hello to all our wonderful listeners out there. We're so glad you decided to join us today for what I think is going to be a really fascinating conversation.
Absolutely. Before we dive into today's topic, I just want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really makes a huge difference for us.
Yes, and if you enjoy our content, please leave us a rating and share the podcast with anyone you know who's learning English or just loves interesting discussions. Your support means the world to us.
Perfect. So, Sarah, are you ready to get started with today's discussion?
I am absolutely ready. I've been looking forward to this all week. So, what are we talking about today, Tom?
Today, we're going to explore the topic of dream careers and life goals. We'll be talking about what we aspire to achieve, what motivates us, and how people can pursue their passions in life.
Oh, I love this topic. It's something everyone thinks about at different points in their lives. Whether you're just starting out or already established in your career, we all have dreams and goals we want to accomplish.
Exactly, and it's never too late to pursue something you're passionate about. I think that's an important message for our listeners to hear.
Definitely. So, Tom, let's start with you. When you were younger, what did you dream of becoming? Did you always want to work in podcasting and media?
That's a great question. Honestly, no. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I was completely fascinated by space, the stars, and the idea of exploring the unknown.
An astronaut? That's amazing. So many children dream of going to space. What was it about space exploration that captured your imagination?
I think it was the sense of adventure and discovery. The idea that there's so much out there we don't know about yet. I used to watch documentaries about the solar system and read books about astronauts. It seemed like the most exciting job in the world.
That's really inspiring. So what changed? How did you end up in broadcasting instead of becoming an astronaut?
Well, as I got older, I realized that becoming an astronaut requires very specific skills in science and mathematics, and while I was interested in those subjects, I discovered I had a real passion for communication and storytelling. I loved the idea of sharing information and connecting with people through conversation.
And you're doing that now through our podcast. So in a way, you found a different kind of exploration. Instead of exploring space, you're exploring ideas and sharing knowledge with others.
I never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. That's a beautiful perspective. I'm still exploring and discovering, just in a different realm. What about you, Sarah? What were your childhood dreams?
When I was young, I desperately wanted to be a veterinarian. I was that kid who brought home every stray animal I could find and tried to convince my parents to let me keep them.
That's adorable, so you were an animal lover from the start. Did your parents let you have pets?
Eventually, yes. We had 2 dogs, a rabbit, and at one point, a hamster named Whiskers. I spent all my time taking care of them and reading about different animal species. I thought being a vet would be the perfect career.
So what steered you away from that path? It sounds like you were really dedicated to it.
I was, but then I did some volunteer work at an animal clinic when I was a teenager, and I realized something important about myself. While I loved animals, I found it emotionally very difficult to see them in pain or distress. It really affected me deeply.
That makes complete sense. Being a veterinarian requires not just love for animals, but also the emotional strength to deal with difficult situations. That's a really mature realization to have.
Thank you. It was tough to let go of that dream, but I discovered that I could channel my compassion and desire to help in other ways. I became interested in journalism and media because I realized I could use communication to raise awareness about important issues, including animal welfare.
And that's exactly what you're doing. You haven't abandoned your values or your passion. You've just found a different way to make an impact. I think that's something our listeners can really learn from.
I hope so. I think it's important for people to understand that your path doesn't have to be linear. Sometimes our dreams evolve as we learn more about ourselves.
Absolutely, and speaking of evolving dreams, let's talk about current goals. Sarah, what are some of your professional aspirations right now? Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
That's a big question. In the short term, I want to continue growing this podcast and reaching more listeners around the world. I love the idea that we're helping people improve their English while having meaningful conversations.
We've definitely been growing, which is exciting. What about long-term goals?
Long term, I'd love to write a book. Maybe something about language learning, or perhaps a collection of the interesting stories and conversations we've had through this podcast. I think there's something special about the written word that complements audio content.
I would definitely read that book. You have such a great way of explaining things and making complex topics accessible. Have you started working on it at all?
I've been keeping notes and ideas, but I haven't really started the actual writing process yet. I think I'm still in the gathering and planning phase. What about you, Tom? What are your big dreams for the future?
For me, I'm really interested in expanding into video content. I know we're primarily an audio podcast, but I think there's something powerful about visual storytelling as well. I'd love to create educational content that combines both mediums.
That's a fantastic idea. Video would allow us to incorporate graphics, expressions, and visual aids that could really enhance the learning experience. Have you thought about what kind of video content you'd want to create?
I'm thinking about documentary-style pieces that explore different aspects of language and culture. Maybe we could travel to different English-speaking countries and showcase how the language varies in different regions. Show the diversity of English around the world.
Oh, I love that concept. Exploring the differences between British English, American English, Australian English, and all the other variations. That would be incredibly valuable for learners.
Exactly, and it would combine my childhood love of exploration with my current passion for communication. I'd be discovering new places while helping people learn.
It's amazing how things come full circle, isn't it? Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about what motivates people to pursue their dreams. Tom, what do you think drives someone to keep working toward a goal, especially when things get difficult?
That's a profound question. I think the most powerful motivator is passion. When you genuinely care about what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work in the traditional sense. You're willing to put in the effort because it matters to you personally.
I agree with that. Passion is crucial. But I also think having a sense of purpose is important. Knowing that your work makes a difference, whether it's helping people, contributing to society, or creating something meaningful.
That's a great point. Purpose gives you direction and meaning. It's the why behind what you do. When you know your purpose, it's easier to stay motivated during challenging times.
Definitely. I also think community and support play a huge role. Having people around you who believe in your dreams and encourage you can make all the difference. Whether that's family, friends, mentors, or even an online community of people with similar goals.
Absolutely. No one achieves their dreams in complete isolation. We all need cheerleaders and supporters along the way. And sometimes we need people who will give us honest feedback and help us improve.
Yes, constructive criticism is so valuable. It's not always easy to hear, but it helps us grow. What about obstacles, Tom? What do you think are the biggest barriers people face when pursuing their dreams?
I think fear is probably the biggest obstacle. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. These fears can be paralyzing and prevent people from even trying.
That's so true. Fear is incredibly powerful. I also think practical concerns like financial constraints can be a major barrier. Not everyone has the resources or opportunity to pursue their dreams, which is unfortunate.
You're right, economic factors definitely play a role. Sometimes people have to make practical choices to support themselves or their families, even if it means putting their dreams on hold temporarily.
The key word there is temporarily. I think it's important to remember that dreams don't have expiration dates. You can work toward them at your own pace, even if it takes longer than you initially planned.
That's such an encouraging perspective. Progress is progress no matter how slow. What about self-doubt? Do you think that's a common obstacle?
Oh, absolutely. Self-doubt is something almost everyone experiences. That little voice in your head that tells you you're not talented enough, smart enough, or qualified enough. It can be really destructive if you let it control you.
I've definitely struggled with that myself. I think the key is recognizing that self-doubt is normal, but it doesn't have to define you. Everyone has moments of insecurity, even the most successful people.
Exactly. And often, taking action is the best remedy for self-doubt. When you start making progress, even small steps, it builds confidence and silences that negative voice.
That's excellent advice. Let's talk about some strategies for pursuing your dreams. Sarah, what would you suggest to someone who has a goal but doesn't know where to start?
First, I'd say break down your big dream into smaller, manageable goals. A huge ambition can feel overwhelming, but when you divide it into steps, it becomes much more approachable. For example, if someone wants to write a novel, they could start with a goal of writing just 1 page per day.
That's a smart approach. Small, consistent actions add up over time. What else would you recommend?
I'd also suggest finding role models or mentors. Look at people who have achieved what you want to achieve and learn from their journeys. Read their stories, follow their advice, and don't be afraid to reach out and ask for guidance.
Mentorship is invaluable. Having someone who's been where you want to go can save you time and help you avoid common mistakes. I'd also add that education and skill development are crucial. Whatever your dream is, invest in learning the skills you need to achieve it.
Absolutely, continuous learning is essential. And in today's world, there are so many resources available online. You can take courses, watch tutorials, join communities, all from the comfort of your home.
The accessibility of information today is remarkable. What about the importance of taking risks? Do you think people need to be willing to step outside their comfort zones?
Definitely. Growth happens outside the comfort zone. That doesn't mean you should be reckless, but calculated risks are often necessary. You might need to leave a stable job to start a business, or move to a new city for an opportunity, or invest your savings in your education.
Those are big decisions that require courage. But as the saying goes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Of course, it's important to be prepared and thoughtful about the risks you take.
Right, it's about finding the balance between being cautious and being bold. You want to protect yourself, but not to the point where you never try anything new.
Let's talk about resilience for a moment. Not everyone achieves their dreams on the first try. How important is it to be able to bounce back from setbacks and failures?
It's absolutely critical. Resilience might be one of the most important qualities for success. Everyone faces rejection, disappointment, and failure at some point. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often the ability to keep going despite those setbacks.
I completely agree. Some of the most successful people in history failed multiple times before they achieved their goals. The famous examples like Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, or J.K. Rowling, whose book was rejected by numerous publishers before becoming a worldwide phenomenon.
Those stories are so inspiring. They remind us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's actually part of the journey to success. Each failure teaches you something and brings you closer to your goal if you're willing to learn from it.
That's a beautiful way to frame it. Failure as education rather than defeat. How do you personally deal with setbacks, Sarah?
I try to give myself time to process my emotions first. It's okay to feel disappointed or frustrated, but then I make a conscious effort to reflect on what went wrong and what I can learn from the experience. I ask myself questions like, what could I have done differently? What skills do I need to develop? What's my next step?
That's a really healthy approach. Acknowledging your feelings while also focusing on growth and moving forward. I think another important aspect is celebrating small victories along the way. You don't have to wait until you achieve your ultimate goal to feel proud of yourself.
That's such an important point. Celebrating progress keeps you motivated and reminds you how far you've come. Whether it's finishing a course, landing your first client, or simply showing up and doing the work when you didn't feel like it, these moments deserve recognition.
Exactly. The journey matters just as much as the destination. Now, I want to touch on something interesting. Do you think it's possible to have multiple dream careers, or should people focus on just one main goal?
Oh, that's a fascinating question. I think it depends on the person. Some people are very focused and driven toward one specific goal, and that singular focus helps them achieve excellence. But others have diverse interests and might find fulfillment in pursuing multiple passions.
The concept of being a multipotentialite, someone with many interests and creative pursuits. I think that's becoming more common and accepted in today's world.
Yes, and technology has made it easier to have multiple income streams and pursue various interests simultaneously. You could be a teacher who also writes children's books, or an engineer who creates music in their free time.
The key is probably finding balance and not spreading yourself too thin. You want to make meaningful progress in your pursuits rather than dabbling in everything without mastering anything.
Absolutely, quality over quantity. Speaking of which, let's talk about work-life balance. How important is it to maintain balance while pursuing ambitious goals?
It's extremely important, though it's something many people struggle with, myself included. When you're passionate about something, it's easy to become consumed by it and neglect other aspects of your life like health, relationships, and personal well-being.
That's so true. And ironically, neglecting those things can actually hurt your performance and productivity in the long run. You can't do your best work if you're exhausted, stressed, or isolated.
Exactly, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. Taking time to exercise, sleep well, spend time with loved ones, and engage in hobbies that aren't related to your goals actually makes you more effective when you are working toward those goals.
It's about sustainability. You want to pursue your dreams in a way that's sustainable over the long term, not burn out in a few months or years. What do you do to maintain balance, Tom?
I try to set boundaries around my work time. I have specific hours when I'm working, and I do my best to disconnect after those hours. I also make sure to schedule time for activities I enjoy that have nothing to do with work, like hiking or playing basketball with friends.
Those are great strategies. I've been trying to be more intentional about that too. I've started keeping a journal where I track not just my work accomplishments, but also moments of joy and connection in my personal life. It helps me maintain perspective.
I love that idea. It's a reminder that success isn't just about professional achievements. It's about living a full, meaningful life. Before we wrap up, let's give our listeners some final thoughts and encouragement. What would you say to someone listening who has a dream but hasn't taken the first step yet?
I would say start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. They never will be perfect. Take one small action right now toward your dream, no matter how tiny it seems. Research a course, write down your ideas, reach out to someone in the field you're interested in. Just start.
That's powerful advice. I would add that you shouldn't wait for permission or validation from others. Your dreams are valid simply because they matter to you. Trust yourself and your vision, even if others don't understand it at first.
And remember that it's okay if your path looks different from what you initially imagined. Be flexible and open to opportunities that arise along the way. Sometimes the journey takes unexpected turns that lead to even better destinations.
Well said, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. From childhood dreams to current aspirations, from obstacles to strategies for success. I hope our listeners found this conversation valuable and inspiring.
Me too. Before we finish, we'd love to hear from you, our amazing listeners. What are your dreams and goals? What steps are you taking to achieve them? Leave us a comment and share your story. We read every single one and we're genuinely interested in your journey.
Yes, please share with us. And don't forget to subscribe to News in English if you haven't already. We release new episodes regularly with different topics designed to help you improve your English while exploring interesting subjects.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating and share it with friends, family, or anyone who might benefit from our content. Your support really helps us reach more people and continue creating these podcasts.
Thank you all so much for listening today. We appreciate each and every one of you. Keep working toward your dreams, stay positive, and remember that every expert was once a beginner.
Beautiful way to end, Tom. Until next time, everyone, keep learning, keep growing, and keep dreaming big. Take care.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next episode.